Anthony Mangnall.
To serve under your chairmanship, and I fear that if I were in the dock and the Right Honourable Gentleman for Torridge and West Devon was prosecuting, I would surely be sent down after that argument. But in this instance, I can only hope that his argument has landed so effectively with the Minister that the points will be taken on board, accepted and implemented. But I should begin by thanking the Right Honourable Gentleman for Torridge and West Devon for securing this debate and for his continued work in Dartmoor, with the farmers, with the common land farmers on this issue, and his continued engagement. It has made all the difference, and it is the reason that we are speaking on this side of the House with one voice. And I should also like to welcome the Honourable Gentleman from Plymouth, Sutton and Devonport back and wish him a speedy recovery on his health. It's good to see him in his place. This debate, Mr. Hosey, is of the utmost importance, in which time is of the essence. As has already been stated, on the 31st of March, while farmers in my constituency were calving and lambing, a letter arrived asking them to reduce their livestock, to reduce their grazing rights, while they were preparing for the year ahead. They don't prepare and work on a monthly basis. They work sometimes 2 to 3 to 10 years in advance. And to receive a letter asking them to make a decision within 2 months is an insult that cannot be left alone. It must be answered for, and I hope the purpose of this debate will go some way to answering that. Dartmoor, for those who haven't been, is a remarkable place and space, and for those of us who are fortunate to represent areas of it, we know that it is a multi-focused area, an area that focuses on agriculture, environmentalism, recreation, and it shouldn't be one over the other, but all of them together, allowing livelihoods to flourish, experiences to be gained, and traditions to be passed down. It is a working environment, and farmers on Dartmoor are not a recent phenomenon. They've been playing their part for hundreds of years through multi-generations. They have been the cultivators and protectors of the landscape and biodiversity. They have been so and are so because their livelihoods depend upon rich, fertile lands and healthy livestock. Farmers are not anti-environmentalists. They have followed government rules and regulations because that is what is required of them. However, Natural England's recent pronouncement about livestock and grazing reductions will push most common land farmers to the brink. The future hangs in their balance, and this is not rhetoric, this is not parliamentary drama, this is a fact. And I give the Minister the example. One of my farmers on the Holme Valley has seen Natural England request him to reduce his sheep by 75% and his cattle by 66% with no winter grazing at all. And this is meant to happen over the next 5 years. But Natural England would like to see the majority of that cut happen in 2024 and 2025. I reiterate the point. Right now they are calving and lambing and preparing for next year and the year after. The request from Natural England is not only out of time, it is completely out of kilter with how people farm and look after their land. And it makes an insult for a body, a regulatory body, to approach farmers in this way, to take that approach when they should be working with them rather than against them. Using the SSI as a reason, Natural England is attempting to force farmers out of business by making their business models untenable. And I have to question, Mr. Hosey, why Natural England is taking such an approach. Because perhaps they're unhappy with the status of the SSI. Of course it's important to protect SSIs. No one's doubting that on this side of the House. However, to date, there is very little information or evidence that shows that farmers are to blame. Successively, livestock numbers have been reduced, and yet the environmental issues have not improved. So why try the same thing again and expect a different result? Rather, it appears that farmers are the easy target, the small group of people who often are overlooked, who aren't considered, who sometimes are at the mercy of the Twitter mob, rather than being able to stand up. And here we are today in this House, standing up for farmers and ensuring that we can get things done that they need to see delivered. In fact, Mr. Speaker, Mr. Hosey, whether it's higher concentrations of nitrate, milder winters, or just climate change in general, we have to look at the alternatives. And that is why the Right Honourable Gentleman's request for an independent inquiry, for ensuring that we give the breathing space of an extension on 2022 stocking rates is absolutely essential. We ask our farmers to produce food. We ask them to meet our food security levels. We ask them to look after our land. They do this in spades, but right now Natural England is jeopardising that relationship on Dartmoor, and that cannot be allowed to continue. If we wish to see our farmers remain and the viability of their businesses endure, then we must look after this issue of the HLS and provide them with the flexibility and understanding that all farmers, not just Dartmoor farmers, need. So myself and my colleagues from South West Devon and Torridge and West Devon asked for that independent inquiry, we asked for that extension, and we asked for an improvement of communication and engagement from Natural England with farmers. It cannot be allowed to go on like this. It cannot be allowed to take place in other parts of the country, and I hope the Minister will be able to do so. The damage and lack of trust is worrying, and we must now provide that reassurance. We should take note of what is going on in Europe, specifically in the Netherlands, where the cry is going out, no farms, no food. If we lose our Dartmoor farmers, they will not come back. We will find ourselves at odds. We will see a poorer landscape as a result. I hope the Minister will take on board the points we're raising, because this is an issue that, for us, we cannot simply stand idly by. We must see an improvement.
Hear, hear.